Welcome to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League, where we go inside the NPL. Welcome to Everything and the Kitchen Dink. My name is Michael Hammer Mike Chen, and I'm here today with my co-hosts, Jen Bone Crusher Gallwas and David the Professor George. And today we have another special guest, which we'll be introducing shortly. But before we get started, I just want to spend 2 minutes on this new power rating we just got, which is pretty exciting, David and Jen. You know, one of our teams, Coachella Valley Scorpions, they have a guy named Ryan Willis who does this analytical stuff. Who takes strength of schedule with percentage wins and comes up with what the record should be. And, you know, lo and behold, you know, the Kansas City Stingers, which you and I are on, David, are 8-8. Number 7 in the standings, but with the power ratings, we're tied for second. How does that sound, huh? Isn't that pretty cool?
It's very cool. I assumed it was just because I called Ryan this week and talked to him for about a half hour just to go through this, but it had nothing to do with me. The ratings came out before I even talked to him. But it was just very interesting if you're a stats nerd, you know, if you like the Moneyball type stuff, you know, the old school sabermetrics for pickleball. That is very fascinating, and it takes in kind of head-to-head stuff, match points, battles, all sorts of things in order to come up with that the Kansas City Stingers are the second best team according to this ranking after the Houston Hammers.
No, it's tied for second with Boca.
Houston it also moved, the power ratings moved Austin up. Because our losses have almost all been
I'm looking at the power ratings now. You're ranked 10th in the standings, and the power ratings have you as 10th.
No,
so they have like 9th. They moved up one.
Michael.
They switched with Indy.
Oh, they switched with Indy.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. 9th.
Yes, I'm right.
Okay. You're always right, Jen. So congratulations. You're 9th. All right. But this is coming down to the last regular season, and I want to bring on a special guest because their team, Columbus, is ranked 3rd, and one of the reasons they're ranked 3rd or in the standings right now with their great record is because of Kris Heddings, who is the top male player on their team. So, love to bring him on and have his thoughts on why Columbus Hotshots are so good. So, without further ado, welcome, Kris Heddings.
Welcome, man.
Thanks for having me on. It's good to know that if someone cancels on you, you'll resort to having me. It's really nice.
Give away our secrets, you know. Give away our secrets. Yeah. But thank you for being on this last second. I mean, but I just want to. You heard us about the power ratings. You guys are ranked. You're 11-5, 3rd place in the standings. But how do you feel that the power ratings by the Coachella Valley Scorpions has Kansas City being a better team, meaning David, George, and me and all the people on Kansas City Stingers are favored come playoff time in a couple weeks, in a couple months?
I'm going to be real honest with you. It matters not. I mean, come on. Like, you can take any stat and skew it whatever way you want. You know what I mean? Like, it's a team sport. My record isn't that great so far this year. I just think, man, I have never played a tournament, a sport, a format that one match has nothing to do with the next match as much as the NPL. Wow. Matchups, you killed this team, so, they haven't won a game. I have noticed from the very beginning that it doesn't matter. A team could be 0-11 and they could beat you the next event, and you could have beat them. You could have closed them out 9-3 last time, and they beat you 9-3 this time. I've never seen an event that switches on its head per event.
Well, you played a lot of sports, right, Kris? So let's start from the beginning. We'll come back to NPL. Right. You're an athlete. You played a lot of sports. You played football too, right? So yep. Tell us about your upbringing in sports, and then tell us about how you transitioned from football and other sports into pickleball.
Well, I would just say I have to give my dad all the credit and all the angst that the person I grew up to be. My dad was a very involved sports dad, to the point that some people may have thought that it was a little overboard, but I didn't. My dad was always there for me, still there for me. he's one of those, tough love fathers. Still says stuff like, I got on a little clip on ESPN last year for my first senior pro gold, which was actually on my 50th birthday. Wow. And he said, "Oh, always knew you'd make it on ESPN, just not when you were old and fat." So that's my dad, right? Yeah. So I always tell the story, and anybody knows me well, they've heard the story. I've told it a million times, but I got second in the nation as a 12-year-old in Greco-Roman wrestling, and we walked out of the building, and my dad pointed at the roof. And my dad pointed at the roof, and that means throw your damn medal up there because we didn't come here for that. Wow. So that's the kind of, the sports background I have. I played everything: soccer, wrestling, basketball, baseball. My dad was my wrestling and baseball coach. He did not let me play football until high school, but I played pretty much every sport. A little bit of tennis in 8th grade, about 2 months. No, not a bunch of racket or paddle sport background, but if there was a ball, I could do it.
Wow. I would have thought you were an offensive lineman with quick hands, right? Your quick hands, because offensive linemen have quick hands, right, to block. But you told me you're not an offensive lineman.
So piss off. But that is what everybody got out of your comments on the live stream when we played. You talked about it, and I had so many friends back home just dying laughing, because I was a skill position guy, right? But you are correct. I do look like, because linemen do. Left tackles have to have great feet and great hands, and they're big guys. But if you go back and look, there's a lot of linemen that weighed 330, and now they weigh 210. And there's a lot of skill position guys who now weigh 250 pounds who were 195. It's very common. So there you go.
That's great. That's great.
Well, shocker, Michael was not an O-lineman.
No,
I was not. Thank you, Chen.
Michael would have been one person you didn't even notice. You just kind of knock him off you real quick and then keep rolling.
Exactly.
You didn't have to account for in the game plan. You wouldn't have to account for him.
Ouch.
That's great, Kris. I don't know if you heard the podcast with Danny Werfel, but Michael literally says, "You played professional football, but I did not." I was like, "Thanks for sharing that, Michael." Like we couldn't have guessed that.
Some people.
Ever since then, we always tease him about how you didn't play football. You didn't play football, Michael.
He could have kicked.
Shocker.
Yeah,
he could have been a kicker.
That's right. I could have been a Bill Belichick. He was a smart guy, and he became a championship coach. Never played football. You never know.
We like teasing Michael.
But some of the best don't come from playing.
But I did not play Dungeons and Dragons like another host that does. So that's all I'm going to say.
No.
And I'm not the host that played Dungeons and Dragons either.
Stones thrown or arrows, as we do in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
He thinks that's a compliment when you call him a nerdy professor, though. So, he likes it.
We all got our things.
Kris, okay, you're first year in NPL. Tell us, we play this game with my kids, peaks, pit and peak of the day. So what is the best thing about it that you like the most and what's the thing that's one of your best moments and one of your not favorite things?
I say they're very similar things. So my teammates are very receptive to help, and I can see that they try to implement anything that I give them. They reach out to me even after the events and say, "Hey, I'm going to work on this." And my whole entire team is scrappers, right? They're battlers. Yeah. So I love that. And it's good to see them improve. And when they get the opportunity to move up, which on my team, you guys know, we had that happen a few times, I was proud to play with them at Tier 1. And I think they outkicked their coverage, if you know what I mean. I think they played above their station. And that's really all you want, right? If you want to help someone get better, and with my teammates across the board, especially the females on my team, you give them anything and you can see them try to implement it right away. And then they come back the next month and you can see they're doing some of the things that you helped them with, which, for me, that's amazing. It's also part of why it's exhausting, because you're not preparing for your own match, right? So the day is totally different than you lose focus on preparing for your next match in the NPL a little bit, right? Because you're helping your team, right. You're watching, you're socializing, and I'm up, my turn, So I guess that would be the only real, real negative thing that I see. But again, it's at the cost of having a relationship with all my new team, and seeing them improve is really cool.
Well, that's what I noticed most about you in your first year. I always heard what a great player you are, but to see you as a coach, in a sense. Two of my best friends are on your team, Jim Brunson and Adam Painter, and they both had the opportunity to play with you. And they both cited it as one of their peaks, to quote Jen's, through the year. And I really saw it with Jim because he won the combine. He came through South Bend a couple times. We practiced together. And then I actually played him and you. And then immediately the next match, he was able to win in that mixed, that 1B position. And that was really why we lost to you guys, because that sent it to a tiebreaker. And then he actually came up big in the tiebreaker himself. So even within that specific match, that head-to-head battle, I saw the difference that you made with him, especially. He
has so much potential, right? I mean, he's still raw. He's still new to it. The one thing my team did when they, we talked about, we knew John was going to be gone for one of the events. So we talked about pulling one of the line 2 guys up. And I'm like, I disagree. Let's pull a guy up that is a sub on line 3 that way maybe we can, bring him up to 1 and steal a couple wins, right? But we don't upset the other 2 lines. And that way we can still keep our whole entire roster strong. So, whether it worked or not, that doesn't mean it was the right decision or the wrong decision. I still think it was the right decision. I thought they all played above their station. Adam Painter and I had a big win against Merchant and Tao, right? So, and we took Dane to game 3 to 11-10, So,
right.
You win.
Was that your best win of the year so far? Your win of Painter against Merchant and Tao, or do you have a better win that you say?
No, I think we've had a bunch of good wins, but I think the wins for me are when it matters. If you understand what I'm saying, Michael. And at the end of the day, we had a big win against Scott Moore. Me and Natalie have had 2 big wins to close out the day, to win the day or to tie the day. And I'm going to be honest, with my physical ailments and everything, getting up for it, having a match matter a lot more at the end of the day. It puts a little more juice underneath you, and helps you go after it a little more.
So you're one of the best wins you're saying is you and Natalie being Scott Moore, and was it Sherry Quarter?
Sherry Quarter, yep.
That's a tough team. That's a nice win.
Oh, she's a monster. I told her afterwards, I was like, holy crap, you were so good. It was just fun. Like, that's what it is for me. I think sometimes people expect me to be this crazy competitive asshole, right? And I'm not. I have a great time. I can get fired up if you mess with my family or my friends. I don't think any of you guys want to see that side. However, usually I'm the peacemaker and the calmer in situations. And it's not the end all be all. I always tell people we're a bunch of has-beens or never-weres playing pickleball at our age, right? We're one of the two. We're either has-beens or never-weres. And in the scheme of things, it doesn't matter. The friendships that we're making from all this, the fun we have, helps me stay in some sort of physical condition shape. And I want to win every point. I'm not going to lie. I want to win every point. I want to win every match. But when the match is over, I'm over it. I move on and enjoy my life.
Well, that's a great win against a Hall of Famer, Scott Moore, Sherry Quarter, one of the top women. And I get a chance when I'm not playing, I get to broadcast the center court, which I love to broadcast top matches. And you and Natalie were playing against another number 1 team, my colleague, David George and Jen Dawson. And Jen Dawson, Hall of Famer, I know that. But, the weak link would have among the 4, let's call it among the 4 of you. There's not really a weak link, but if there's a weak link, it's David George. And I was shocked that I broadcasted that David and Jen beat you and Natalie. I'm like, I was shocked. Like, what happened that match? Sorry, David, but I was.
They didn't just beat us. They didn't beat us. They beat the brakes off us. It wasn't close.
Yeah. I mean, Michael, you said it. First of all, what a shocker, Michael, that you like to hear yourself speak. I can't believe. Thanks for sharing that. Like, we all know that, right? And then 2, you just could have said, "Hey, that's a nice win by you. That's great. I'm kind of up and coming. I'm a never was." right? I'm just trying to so I'm not a has-been, I'm a never was. So I was just having a good time playing with Hall of Famer, maybe 3 potential Hall of Famers on that court. I was kind of the weak link. You didn't have to mention it like that, but yeah, that was just
teammates.
I'm never going to be a Hall of Famer in pickleball. When you play 4 to 5 tournaments a year, that's I don't play enough tournaments, right? But everybody knows where I stand, and my competitors know, especially in the men's game, because I don't play tournaments mixed. But in the men's game, all the top players know they're going to have to play their best.
That's what I'm saying. You're one of the top players. Like, I watch you play other matches. You're as dominant as anybody out there, and that's why I was kind of shocked about that match.
Well, you mentioned it, Kris. So, why don't you play more? I mean, the only time I ever see you is almost always on the gold medal stand in the few tournaments you play. Is there a reason you don't play more? Do you work commitments, family commitments?
Absolutely. I want pickleball to be a release for me. I want it to be fun. The travel isn't as fun for me. The missing my family, missing my son's soccer tournaments and things that he's doing, pickleball tournaments. I don't love doing that, right? So I love pickleball. Obviously, you guys know from being at the events, I'm a social person. I like meeting everybody and having a great time and joking around. But I'm a homebody. I like my family. I enjoy my time with my children and my grandson. And my wife and I have an amazing relationship. And she'd be great with me traveling 20 weeks a year.
Talk a little about people. People want to know you. Talk a little bit about your family. Talk about your 4 kids, right? It's amazing.
Yep.
It's tell us about your 4 kids, your grandkid. We'd love to hear a little bit about you on the personal side.
My oldest son runs his own sports medicine clinic. He's a doctor of exercise science and physical therapy. He's got a 5-year-old. He is he makes me proud every day. He's one of those incredible fathers. And in my opinion, if you're going to be good at anything in life, that's what it should be, right? That's where I respect someone. Yes, I respect someone's athletic ability and the way they treat other people. But for me, if I was to say the way I judge a person is mainly on what kind of parent they are. And my son's an incredible, incredible father. And my daughter has her own business. She does eyelashes. She's my best friend. We go on daddy-daughter dates all the time. In fact, we're doing a movie tonight. My 24-year-old is an incredibly handsome, tall, talented, quiet young man who is trying to get on the fire department right now, just got his EMT stuff going and going to get on the fire department. And then my 11-year-old is a little clone of me. Unfortunately, he grew up very fast because his brothers and sisters are so old that I feel a little bad because he's not 11. He's more like 11 going on 22. But he's a great kid, plays every sport similar to me, plays really good pickleball player, can dink for days.
Wow.
But he's little. So if he plays tournaments, everybody just lobs him. He just gets lobbed. Nonstop.
So he plays in tournaments as an 11-year-old.
Yeah, his goal is to turn pro by 16, and wow. I think he can do it. But I'm not letting him dedicate his life to pickleball. I'm just not. He's going to play multiple sports and enjoy his childhood.
Well, you've got a built-in split age partner.
That's right. Yep. And they all play pickleball at my house now. They made fun of me for 3 or 4 years when I started in 2019, and now they all play at night. They play at Tuesday and Thursday nights at my house, and they all just have a blast. And
all your kids play pickleball? All
of them, yeah. I mean, they don't. Only my 11-year-old will ever play with anybody outside of their core group in my family, right. But they all play and love it. And obviously in Arizona, it's a little harder right now. But during the spring and the winter, they played nonstop.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's impressive. And
I didn't mention my wife, but my wife's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I don't deserve her, but I'll take her.
That's so awesome. You sound like a good father, a good husband, and it sounds like you talk about your father. Sounds like you're a good son too. Just kind of the role models we want out of the NPL, and so we're very blessed and fortunate to have you play in our league this year. Would love to just also get your thoughts on, what can NPL do better to energize people like you, get more people like you who are not only great players but good people to join our league in the NPL in the future years?
I mean, I'm a strict person on holding people responsible for their behaviors, right? Like, we're all adults. I think if you act out of line, you need to be yellow carded and suspended. Everybody has a moment, those kind of things. But for the most part, when it comes down to this is just a bunch of old people playing pickleball, having a good time. I think obviously last week, last event, the flooring wasn't. Yeah, Kansas City. The venue was beautiful, but we had issues with the surface, right? So that's some of the things, but it's hard. As the sport's growing, you're going to get better facilities. You're going to get bigger facilities that can host these things. So I know they're just doing everything they can to put it in the best facility possible. Also, they could have a couple of them on our side of the world versus all,
Good.
But other than that, Rick and Beth and the whole NPL team have been great to me. Like you said, I tried to be the person that they heard I was, and I try to be pretty consistent in my life, but I really have enjoyed it. But I'm lucky. I got drafted by the McKnights. I mean, that family.
Aren't they awesome? They're awesome.
It's incredible. Mama Jeannie takes care of me like she's my mom. She brings 12 towels for me and
dance party at the end.
Yeah, it was just that whole team and the ownership. I'm just lucky.
Yeah, no, you guys got a great team, a tall team too, right? You have a lot of tall players on your team. Rich Lively, Shea Coker, like holy cow, like
some big boys. And you forgot Hedberg too.
Yeah, that's right.
There's three towers on our team.
Big guys who hit the ball really hard. I think you literally busted 2 balls, like in our match up 2 hits.
It's not easy to break those chuck balls, but in Cincy, I broke 2 of them. Yeah.
Is it what you expected? What's the biggest thing that's different than you expected, or is it?
No, it is almost what I expected. Just the format's a little difficult for me. I mean, you see me. I'm not in the best physical. I mean, I know I'm not the best physical condition guy, and I've never ran like conditioning, but my body has been a problem. My hamstrings have been a problem. So no excuse when you're on the court. I had someone, Fliegelman, came up to me and said, man, hey, I would have liked to face you with a tier 1 player. David said the same thing. And what did I say, David? No, you beat my ass.
No excuses.
You beat my butt. You guys deserve the win. That's the fact. You know what? Next time, I'm coming for you. Right? But, I'm not too proud to just give someone the credit when it's due. Yeah. And being an athlete, there's a lot of failure, man. You fail, there's a lot of times, but if you do the right things, most of the time you'll see the correct results.
It's a great attitude.
Let's talk a little bit about what you project for the last weekend in Houston coming up, as well as the playoffs. Because like everyone's fun and games, but the championship, there's $150,000 on the line. And people are taking that seriously. Is it going to be game face on for Kris Heddings in the championship? Is it like peaking for the playoffs? Like you guys are in 3rd place, but I see you guys as being very talented, both on the women and the men's side. And I predict you as one of the favorites for the championship. How do you guys see yourself?
I think we'll put ourselves in great contention after next event. And then with my physical stuff improving, I think I'll be ready and primed to be full go for that last event. And not to toot my own horn, but the times it's been on center court, the times it's mattered the most, I've been able to draw from that, and gives you a little more energy, brings a little, I always say those kind of things bring who you are. Just they can be either way, right? If you're a loose cannon, then you can get even worse, right? But I like those environments. I've never shied away from those environments. Dave Weinbach and I have had some unbelievable matches, but in fun. We had a big match, and I made him come up and tap my paddle after one of the things. Like, nah, get your butt over here. Come on.
That was a fun match.
Tell me good shot. Tell me good. And he just had his head down like, damn it. But how many times has he done that to me? So I like those settings, and it just makes it so much more fun.
Well, first of all, Michael, don't try to kiss up to the guest, because I've never actually heard you pick Columbus. I pick Columbus literally every weekend except one.
You do.
Okay, from the very beginning. Okay. And you've always picked other people. And now that Kris is on, you're like, yeah, I see you guys as being one of the best teams. Really, Michael?
He does this every week.
Wait, you picked Seattle with me last week.
I said except for one team. I picked Seattle just to be different, although I said Columbus is my team from the very beginning. All right. So I don't know if you think of it this way. It sounds like you don't. But do you see another team as being like your primary competition, or are you just more focused on your team?
No, just more focused on our team. As you see, the matchup changes every time. Yeah. It's so unique. The lineup combinations change. The part of the day it's in, whether you're playing the morning of the event or the after event, what the score is in your overall team matches affect. So I have a hard time just zoning in. Obviously, you got a team like Houston that's been at the always in that one or two spot for every event. So I mean, there is some people on your radar, but it doesn't really change anything. You just go out there, try to put the best team on the floor that you can, and support your teammates.
Do you like that format where you're playing against totally different teams all the time, and you're playing a lot of times with different partners? Do you like that, or you like more the tournament where it's a regular partner, you kind of see the same teams over and over again?
So I like it. However, it would have been nice to have my number one lineup for a few more of the events. So John and I, so we've had a little of that. But again, I told you before, it allowed me to play with Adam, Jeff, and Jim, which was a great experience for myself. It wasn't just a great experience for them. It was a great experience for me. You learn how to be a teammate. The first thing Jeff said to me, and he's the owner of my team, he says, "Tell me what you want me to do." And I just said, "Be the frickin' spaz that you are," right? Like, that's what I said, right? Like, don't try to change,
right.
These guys that play a little wild and play a little erratic are hard to read sometimes, right? Especially for the tier one guys. We're used to this more methodical, more chess match, which is what I like. I'm going to be honest. I like the pro game better. It fits my style better. I stay in longer points. It's just more engaging for me, right? But those guys who are a little erratic and they're, sometimes their decision making doesn't seem correct, but it works, right? And I'm not going to change anything about my teammates right in the middle of an event, right? Like, just be supportive. Do I have a few suggestions on where to drop the ball? Maybe. But for the most part, you be you, and I'll just be here to support you.
That's awesome. That's great. It's just like with Jen. If you ever play with Jen, just say, keep crushing the ball at people's chest, right? Like, she body bags everybody. That's her game.
Not like if I said anything and anything would change anyway. So what's the point?
No, you asked Sperling. I was very coachable last week because he was giving me a chance. I'm like, okay,
but you do know what I mean. People got to be themselves and then add parts of the game that will make them better, right? And that's what the month. That's what the month between is for, right? Work on that stuff and then introduce it in the moments in the matches, and then. So like every time we leave, I try to give each one of them something to add for the next event. And my team has been so gracious, reaching out to me for the help. I'm not going to help unless you want me to. I'm not going to say anything. But it's been the opposite. My team has really been, asking me to help, and anything I see to let them know. And I can see them really be willing to be, like you said, coachable and work on and get better. So that itself is worth playing in the whole league right there.
Yeah. And I will say, as a tier 3 person, I was going to say me and Jen, but Jen's a tier 2, at least maybe a tier 1 now. So as a tier 3 person, I actually, one of the benefits I love playing in the NPL is the fact that I do get like kind of free coaching from the top players, and not only free coaching, but upfront close watching them coach other players too, and how to play as a team. And for me, that's an invaluable lesson and a huge value add that people like you, Kris, and David and others, offer as a leadership. And I see also that some people do it because they feel like they have to do it, but I think you do it. You really enjoy doing it.
Oh, I love doing it. In fact, I feel like maybe they're asking me for me. You know what I mean? Like throwing me a bone. You know what I mean? So But I really enjoy it, and to see it come to fruition, and them like they'll look over at me right at in the middle of a match right after they implemented something, and they'll look over like, I just did it, and I'm like, yes, you did. All right, now keep doing it. So it's really fun to see.
That's great.
Well, another besides just coaching, I've in the AVP or whatever, or other tournaments, I played with David. I've been lucky to play with David George for 2 years. I have different, female partners, but in this NPL, I played with 4 different guys. I mean, 2 could more often, but you take a piece of, I am very coachable. I'm newer to this. And like I told David yesterday, I'm like, okay, Sperling says I should never take a backhanding, or this person says this, or Weinbach says, get to the, so I'm trying to take a little bit from it, and then you're get better, because my goal is to be better 6 months from now. I have you've been doing a long time. If you see something I'm doing wrong or something that can help me, I love getting this person's take on something, and then this advice, because to have this situation where you get to play with people that are better than me and willing to help, it's invaluable. So that's just another big, huge plus, of the NPL.
Awesome.
Well, we're excited.
That's what people did for me when I first started, right? Like, I mean, people saw potential in me. The day I started playing, I had a couple people go, oh, you could do this. Okay, let's, so you meet the right people, and then they introduce you to the 5-0s, and then, it goes from there. And I had a lot of people in Arizona go, oh man, you're going to pass me quick. And they would introduce me to the next group, Right. And I like to pass that on with the young guys, especially in Arizona. It's been great to have see the success of a lot of these young kids, and then also now being part of a team with the Hotshots to see that come to fruition is really cool.
Well, we're going to try to get next year loud and clear events out closer to where you are.
Yeah, let's go to Arizona.
We had a championship in Arizona last year. This year it didn't work out. Just we're trying to find an indoor facility with many more courts, since we have 12 teams this year. But we definitely want to get back. I know you guys are building a lot of courts in Phoenix, and so
center court is being built right next to my house right now. It'll be done right about the time the finals are there, so it was just too close, but I'm affiliated with them, and that's going to be great. They're 5 minutes from my house, 59th Avenue and Bell Road, easy access all the way across the. That'd be a great place to host next year.
How many indoor courts? 16.
Oh,
it's awesome! Yeah.
We looked at them, and we definitely want to explore doing that next year at your hometown, and where we can build a fan base around Phoenix, Arizona as well. So, well, thank you. But before we go, Kris, you've been a great guest. Tell us anything else you want to talk about.
Well, really, the main thing is, I'd like to thank all the people along the way that helped me, get to where I am in pickleball, and just, you three. You guys are great examples of the people you meet. These are people that I would never meet in any other circumstance, right? That's what sports does, and it brings you to a bunch of good people. And I've made a lot of good friends. My teammates. I make fun of Natalie all the time with her voice. He goes, I do not talk like that. And I'm like, yes, you do talk like that. And so, the main thing is I want to announce that a documentary that I was part of called Breaking Pickleball. It was staged at the Orchard, which is Jigsaw Health. And it was the first season, and I was part of that first season. And the documentary, we had the premiere a couple months ago, and it was picked up on Amazon Prime this week. Awesome. So they have 10 days of editing and doing closed caption and stuff, and it should be on there. And, my role in the whole thing was similar to my role on my team, helping these young guys, spending time with them after playing at my house. And, guys like Augie Guh and Danny Jensen and Pesta Tioni and Craig Johnson and, Caden Niemoff. It just goes on and on and on. And a lot of these guys are, getting big wins. Michael Lloyd just had a huge, beat the number 1 team in the world. Augie's had several big wins. Craig Johnson, holy man, that guy could beat anybody in the world. So it's so cool to see these young guys living their dreams, and just me being 1% of helping them get to where they want to go is made it all worth it doing the Orchard and the Breaking Pickleball season.
Great. Well, thank you again, Kris.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on our show, our podcast, and Want to wish you the best wishes for the rest of the season. Hope you have a great rest of the season. Other than when you play the Kansas City Stingers, I got to say, then I got to root for my boy, David George, obviously, to pull another one off against you.
But I want to say one thing, since Big Witsken isn't on the show, he avoided the last event. You know what I mean? He avoided me. His wife was sick. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. Rick and I are good friends. I checked on him and his wife after the week. I told him, man, your family's so much more important than playing one match. We'll play each other another time. But I got to give Big Rick some crap. You know what I mean? That's just part of it.
That's great. Great. Well, thank you so much, Kris, again. And we'll see you soon.
Thank
you, guys. I appreciate you getting me on.
All right. Take care, pal.
Appreciate you.
Wow. So that was great, right? Kris is amazing, amazing guest. His spirit, his attitude of not only, playing hard, but the fact that you heard him playing with different partners, bringing up people from pod 3 to play with him, right? Coaching. He loves that coaching that almost he like you said, it almost screwed up his own game because he's so focused on coaching. And he wants people to have good sportsmanship. That's the kind of people we need in the NPL. And that's the kind of people I root for in the NPL. People like that. So
for sure.
Other than when they play you, David, I won't forget. I'm rooting for you when we play, and I'm always rooting for you. You know that.
Hashtag Wink League.
Oh my goodness.
That was great. Great. I mean, really rude.
Well, next week.
Guys, I thought you had a bromance. Your roommates, your teammates, your podcast mates.
No more snuggling, Michael.
Oh my goodness! Hey, let's keep this personal hotel stuff out of the way. Our team is going to have a great time in Kansas City. I think we got an Airbnb. We'll have a great time together, but we're going to keep that off the podcast. All right? What happens in the Airbnb? It's going to be a huge
bash.
I know.
What happens in Airbnb? One king bed.
I wish it was a queen bed. It wasn't a lot of room.
What happens in the Airbnb stays in the Airbnb, Jen. That's all I'm going to say.
You guys are a fun team.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be talking next week about lots of things in our forecast going into Houston on who's going to win the Houston. The last regular season match of the weekend will be at Houston, and I think I know who I'm going to pick, but it'll be exciting because it'll be the last weekend before the championship weekend. So, all right. Well, with that, I just want to thank you, Jen Bone Crusher Gallwas, David the Professor George, and to our special guest again, Kris Heddings, for being on Everything and the Kitchen Dink, where we go inside the National Pickleball League. Thank you, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the official podcast of the National Pickleball League. Please stay tuned as we will be back soon with our next episode as we go inside the NPL.